From LEX 18, your official UK sports station for Big Blue Nation, this is BBN Tonight. Presented by Central Bank, the official bank of UK athletics.
Well, welcome into BBN Tonight. I'm Mary Jo Perino.
And I'm Eli Gain. Tonight we've got a lot to get to, and depending on how you look at it, a pretty mixed bag.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack tonight. We're going to start with basketball, though, who for the first time since 2000 is 1-3. And that's tonight's Big Blue story presented by Baptist Health. After a long bus ride to Atlanta, it was an even longer one home. The Cats took on a struggling 0-2 Georgia Tech team led by former Cal assistant Josh Pastner and his face shield, and they got crushed by 17 points. The game got off to a slow start offensively with Terrence Clark scoring the first bucket almost 3 minutes into the game, and he was really the only offense from there on out. Yep. 21 Kentucky turnovers leading to 33 points for Georgia Tech. That was the story of the game. Clark was a bright spot, getting into a bit of a rhythm scoring. 13 of the Cats' first 22 points. Shooting from downtown improved, Eli. If I told you Kentucky shot 40% from deep and 90% from the foul line, that seems like probably a recipe for success.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to throw a little silver lining in there with the nice shooting and everything.
But why are they shooting all those threes?
I know. It's based on the last two games, you never would have thought, like, oh, well, they're going to break out. I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, as at some point they're going to start making some shots. But holy cow, the turnovers again. I think they have nearly 60 in the last three games. Just really ruins any sort of momentum and flow that you can actually have.
And part of the reason too, if you're shooting up threes because you're down the whole time.
Yeah,
you got to find a way to get back in the game. That's the quickest way. If you're hitting them, didn't work last night.
Well, that's just our take on it. We're not experts, I guess.
We're not basketball bennies.
We're media people. Here's what Coach Cal had to say after the game.
We've been here before, and there's things I can do. Some of the stuff, I've got to hold them accountable, turning the ball over. I mean, again, I'm just telling you, guys trying to make the hardest play they can make. Why would you not just throw to that man? Because I'm trying to show I can play. But what happens is you show you don't realize, you don't understand. Just make easy plays and attack. Shot the ball better, did some better things. I thought Terrence did some good stuff. But they tired us out when they went with the smaller lineup. When we had our chances, we turned it over, and they got a breakaway layup. So it goes from 6 and 8, and all of a sudden you turn around, it's 12-14. What just happened? Turnover, turnover, turnover. So we got stuff we got to work on. We'll get back, and we'll go from there.
Now, Mary Jo, I know Cal says we've been here before with the young team, but it feels a little bit different this time around just because of the circumstances of everything.
It does. And Georgia Tech lost to Georgia Southern and Mercer. Like, this is not a good team, albeit they have more veterans than Kentucky. And we keep talking about nobody that played last night had put on a Kentucky jersey in a game before. But it does feel different because at least when the offense hasn't been working, defensively they've been really good, and they should be really good. There were a lot of times last night where nobody helped on defense at all.
Exactly.
And that was an unforgivable sin for me right now. All right, let's get to football, because we got something positive to talk about, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But first, the big news was obviously offensive coordinator Eddie Gran and quarterbacks coach Darin Hinshaw were fired on Sunday after a year where the offense just could not get the passing game going. Mark Stoops held a news conference Sunday afternoon to make that announcement, and you can tell this was a decision that weighed heavily on him, but he says he knew he had to make a change.
They've done a tremendous job for us. They care deeply about this program. They care deeply about their players, and it was a difficult time. But I also have to recognize that I have a responsibility to our players, to our fans, to our administration, to do what's best for our program as we move forward. And sometimes change is necessary.
You hate it for these guys, Eli. We understand the business, but Eddie Gran and Darin Hinshaw are some of the best guys you'll meet in this business. But you see that there on the screen, averaging 124 passing yards a game. which is what they did with Lynn Bowden when everybody knew they weren't going to throw the ball and that he was just going to run it or someone else was going to run it. So the passing game needs to get fixed.
Yeah, it does, and hopefully we're going to talk with Tom Leach coming up in the next block on who could be a possibility to fill in at offensive coordinator. But as you mentioned, these are very nice guys.
Yeah.
They stepped up when they needed to be interviewed during harsh times when we were criticizing them, and they were able to take it. Best of luck to them wherever they're supposed to go on their next journeys. All right, well, Saturday night, it was senior night. The team got a big win over South Carolina to close out the season and finish 4-6 on the year, including a 4th-place finish in the SEC East. Kentucky never trailed in this win, sent 19 seniors out the right way with a complete victory. The running backs led the way on offense. A.J. Rose, Chris Rodriguez, both going over 100 yards. Terry Wilson, he added 46 rushing yards and crossed the 1,000-yard mark for his career, making him the first player in school history to eclipse 3,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing. The defense had a big night, too, with 4 takeaways. Jordan Wright he had 2 fumble recoveries in this game, almost had 3. But here's Stoops after the game, after the win.
Really grateful. I use that word a lot this week for our team, for our staff, and everybody really trying desperately to finish the correct way. I felt good about our preparation all week. I felt good about their attitude. And, through a difficult, trying season, they really laid it on the line tonight. And that's what I'm most proud of tonight's game is their mindset was right and their effort was right. We weren't perfect, but they really played hard.
Mary Jo, glad to see this group of seniors go out the right way. Maybe we'll get to see them in one more game in 2020.
Yeah, and listen, they could have mailed it in.
Mm-hmm.
They really could have, and they didn't. And that says a lot about the guys on this team for sure. And they looked like they had fun, which was nice.
Fun to watch.
The other news to come from the afternoon press conference on yesterday was that the team voted and that they will play in a bowl game if they are invited to one. Previously, Stoops said he'd leave it up to the team after what's been a really hard year. All of the situations that have led to that would have been understandable if they didn't want to play in a bowl, but these guys want one more game, and the extra practices for the young guys will be hugely important.
In a year full of no's,
yeah,
it's good to see these guys come out and just say yes.
Yeah.
Good for them. All right, coming up next on BBN Tonight, we'll dive a little deeper into all of these stories.
We're going to talk with Tom Leach of the UK Sports Network about the events of the weekend and where we go from here when we come back.